You are listening to The World as I See It podcast. 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 As I See It. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The World as I See It podcast. Today, I am going to be trying something a little different, and I'm going to be talking about a news headline that affects the visually impaired community. And this isn't just some random report that I picked out. This is my thoughts and my perspective. We're going to be talking about electric cars. And so, if you have been listening for a while, you know that I don't hold back and I'm not going to start today. So, this headline that we're looking at today comes from RNZ News, and it reads, Blind advocate warns of silent electric vehicle threat. Think about that. This is a literal matter of life and death for people like us in the visually impaired community. The story follows Martine Abel Williamson. She is a major advocate and the president of the World Blind Union. So she has been warning the world about what she calls silent threats, and for good reason. Think about this for a second. Martine has been struck twice by electric vehicles. Struck not once, but twice. And it wasn't because she wasn't paying attention or because she was being reckless. It was because she literally could not hear it. She said that after years of being independent and traveling the world, she now feels like she's taking her life in her hands every time she steps off the curb. Now let that sink in. It's about time that the government realizes that for us, silence isn't some cool luxury feature that you just pay extra for. It is a risk. So I looked at research from the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and they found that electric vehicles are 37% more likely to hit a pedestrian than a regular gas car. 37% more likely. Just imagine that for a moment. That statistic sounds terrifying to me. So, whenever I travel, I am listening to traffic and waiting to cross. I'm standing there and I'm focused and I'm filtering out, the wind and all of the other noise. And luckily, I've not ran into a lot of electric cars. But there was one time I was doing orientation and mobility. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically they teach you how to use your cane and they teach you how to be independent and cross streets safely and stuff like that. And I was waiting to cross the street and I was listening, doing all the right things, and I hesitated for just a second because my intuition told me that something wasn't right. Then an electric car drove right past. And the only reason I even knew it was an electric car was because I heard it hit a rock that was in the road. Yep, you heard me. And I'm not saying that if you have an electric car that it's bad. I'm not saying that I'm against you because of that. But there are reasons why, I don't like electric cars, and I will get to that in a minute. But that's, these are such risks because you can't hear them. And if that rock hadn't been there, I might have known that car was even there unless they told me. So there is a law called the Pedestrian Safety Investment Enhancement Act. that says that these cars have to have a hum at low speeds. And here's the part that really bugs me. I found people on forums sharing hacks on how to kill that safety hum because they find it, quote, annoying. They are literally telling people which specific fuses to pull in the engine bay just so the car stays quiet. They are choosing their peace and quiet over our right to not get hit. They are literally pulling fuses and putting visually impaired people at risk. Why? Why would you do that? That is the question that I think to myself. And don't even get me started on weather. The law says that these cars only have to make noise when they are going under about 18.6 miles per hour. The experts claim that once a car goes faster than that, the tires that are on the pavement are enough for us to hear. Seriously? Seriously? You believe that? I'm just assuming here, but I think that they test these things on perfect sunny days. Because think about a windy day or a stormy day. The wind in the trees and the rain would drown that out completely. It would drown out the whoosh of the tire. Tire noise is high frequency. It doesn't carry well in bad weather. So, by cutting that sound off at 18 miles per hour, the government is basically just saying, good luck. And it makes no sense. It truly makes no sense to me. Now, here's some positives. The government has finally realized that this is a problem. About time, in my opinion. But anyway, they are working on new rules to make these systems tamper-proof so, people can't just pull a fuse. But what about right now? We're just stuck waiting while they're intentionally making their cars invisible to me. Yeah, they should do something about it now, not later. Now, with all that being said, does it mean that I'm never going to go outside and that I'm never going to travel and cross the street? Absolutely not. Electric cars are not stopping me from that. And it's one of those things like, even if you have an electric car, and even though I can't hear them, it's one of those things like, you could literally just roll down your window and be like, hey, I'm here. I'm driving. Like, something obvious. I mean, don't be distracting, but it's just a thought. So thank you for listening to my perspective, even though it was very, it had I had a lot to say. And I hope that you learned something from this perspective. So thank you for joining me. And, I want to hear from you, and I mean really hear from you. So I want your honest feedback about this podcast. What do you like or dislike about the podcast? What do you think could improve, or what could I do better? Please be honest. Don't hold back. I want to make this show, as best as it can be. And I want your feedback to help make the show better. Also, what is a topic that I maybe haven't talked about yet that you're curious about? I will have a pinned comment that you can reply to on YouTube, or you can email me at theworldasiseeitpodcast@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to hear your thoughts and your feedback. Again, thank you so much for listening today. And stay curious, keep listening, and I will talk to you in the next episode. You've been listening to the World as I See It podcast.